Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we interview some of the most interesting people that have said yes to opportunities in their life. We hope that through these stories, you can learn to create your own destiny by saying yes along the way. Join us as we explore the new series covering topics such as passion, integrity, and hard work. I'm your host, Jim Riley, and I hope you enjoy these interviews as much as I do. I believe that everyone has an important message worth hearing. All right, well, welcome to the show. You know, I started talking to this guest offline before I hit record, and I realized this was going to be a fun conversation. So without further ado, I've got Jake Kelfer on the line, and we've got a lot to share today. Jake, how you doing?
Jim, man, I'm pumped, man. We were talking before, and I can't wait to now bring that energy to all the listeners and to keep bringing the heat. So let's do this thing.
Yeah, you know, when you reached out, of course, you said yes on the topic on the email, and then we have Alan Stein as a common, friend. He's a previous guest on my show. Absolutely adore that individual.
Yeah, Alan's the man. Alan is the man, and a lot of times when you associate like-minded individuals, it turns into be a great collaboration, a great camaraderie. So it'll be good to chat and dive a little bit deeper.
I have promoted the shit out of his book on this show because I read it and then reread it, and then I use it as a tool because it is so good. Have you read his book?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It's great. We'll add another book to that list for you after this
one. Well, I think you got a couple, right?
There we go.
Well, you know, I jumped into your website, and as soon as I got the email from you, and I could just tell from the smile on your picture and, you know, kind of the descriptors on your site, like, okay, I got to do this interview without even diving any further. Plus, we've got Alan in common. Would you mind just kind of taking us back in your history, maybe where life started for you in business or what you did early on, whether that was a college thing or a trade school or what have you?
Yeah, so I'll kind of take it back to my college days and that transformation over the last 5 years. So for me in college, I wanted to be a sports agent. As a 5'8" Jewish kid that played basketball growing up his whole life, big Laker fan, when the dream of playing in the NBA disappeared pretty quickly, yeah. I chose that I was going to be a sports agent because I was like, that's the best way I can get on the court, best way I could be around these athletes. And I knew a lot of them. So I already kind of had that network starting to build. And I was like, this makes a lot of sense. So I spent my entire time in college studying business and sports. That's what I studied, figured out everything. Right before I graduate, the agency I was going to work for goes on a hiring freeze. They can't hire me. And I start to scramble.
Yeah.
In that moment, though, I had to put in everything I had learned about resume building, networking, interview skills, social media. I had to put everything into action right away to do a quick turnaround. And it just so happened that the Los Angeles Lakers offered me a job upon graduation.
Right.
So when you talk about full circle, right, in the journey of like growing up a diehard Lakers fan from Southern California, Kobe's one of my favorite players. Magic Johnson is my favorite player. And I get to work for that franchise in what happens to be Kobe Bryant's final NBA season. No matter what you want to do with the rest of your life, you say yes to that.
Yes.
Because that's a memory, and life is about experiences and creating incredible memories. So I said, hell yeah, I'm in, right? So I take this job, and while I'm working with the team, it's incredible. First year out of college. And what I realized, and I can tell you a great story here in a second, but what I realized during that experience was that, one, I loved helping people. I loved making people feel that they had the greatest experiences with us and to see the smile on their face after they left.
Yeah.
And so I started to write my first book. I didn't realize that I was going to write a book at 22 years old, a year removed from school. But here I was, getting up early, driving so I could miss traffic, and then sitting in the office for 2 hours, writing away, creating what became my first book. Well, Kobe Bryant ends up retiring at the end of the year, right? So I said, you know what, let's make it fun. Life is fun. Life is just a game. Kobe retires, I retire. His jersey's in the rafters, my jersey's in the rafters, and Elevate Beyond, which is my first book, comes out, which is all about helping people how to stand out in the job market and discover their passion. I wrote it because I knew a lot of information about that, but I also knew that it would help a lot of people.
Sure.
And that was my mission behind that. Specifically, my brother was a freshman in college at the time. So I wanted all of his friends to have more time to party and then just read my book and you'll get more jobs. That was the trade-off. And that just started to lead into me speaking, and I started speaking more. And then I was like, how do I get back into basketball? How do I combine my entrepreneurial, my passion to help others? And lo and behold, I ended up creating a secondary NBA draft combine, which allowed 24 players each year to be able to compete in front of NBA teams and executives and overseas personnel to raise their draft stock and exposure on the global basketball scale. And over the last couple of years, we've built that to help 70 players come through our program and sign contracts in 31 countries. I've written a second book called Elevate Your Network, which we'll dive into in a little bit. And now I'm a coach to ambitious entrepreneurs and freedom seekers to help them build their business through a world-class network.
That went fast.
There we go. I can give you a lot.
Well, I mean, your career too, because what's really interesting to me about it is that you leveraged that time that you went to work early to create something that in the long run benefited you tremendously from a business aspect. I'll tell you kind of a similar story. I lived in Irvine, and I was running the In-N-Out Burger on Inglewood Boulevard on the 405, right? And I made tons of money. It was a great job. And if you're looking to work in that business, In-N-Out's the place to go if you're listening. Anyways, I left at 5 a.m. in the morning. I didn't have to be at work till 9. Instead of writing a book, I'd go surfing in Palos Verdes, and then I'd show up right like 5 to 9 on time, you know. But look at you. You wrote a book. I mean, what a great use of your time.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about life, right? Is the people that win at the game of life are the people that choose to spend their time doing the things that matter to them, right? For you, in that moment in your life was surfing, enjoying the waves, getting up, feeling the cold water on your skin, right? Like that was so enjoyable. And anything that happened after that, even if you hated work, anything that happened after that, your day was already a W.
Oh yeah, best day ever.
Right, best day ever, right? And so for me, writing that book was just one of my avenues to being able to fulfill success in my eyes. And that's something that's so powerful that no matter where you're at, what you're going through right now, no matter where you've been, right? If you can find something to do that you enjoy every single day, that makes a difference for yourself and the people that you love and the people that you want to help, you're going to have a lot of wins in your days. And if you have a lot of wins, those days become weeks. The wins take you to the playoffs take you to the championships turn you into an MVP. And I don't know about you, but I want to be an MVP. I want to be a championship caliber MVP when it's all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely. What I also like about your vision to write that book is you had the intuition early on to start writing. You know, so not only did you make good use of your time, but what a great opportunity to start writing about the topic while you were living it and going through it. It was so relevant and current. It was like, for me, I want to write a book, but I'm going to have to go, I'm 52. So it's like, oh, wow, what happened back in my 20s and 30s and 40s, So really great idea to start when you're in the middle of it.
Well, to be honest, I didn't set out to write that book. What I set out to do is write a series of blog posts that I thought maybe people would enjoy and read and just consume whenever they could. But what I quickly realized was I just started writing and had all these pages. And what does a college student or a high school student or someone looking to transfer their jobs not want to do? Read 30 pages of blog post content.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out, well, what am I going to do with all this? And a mentor of mine told me, Jake, you need to turn this into a book. And of course, I had the limiting beliefs. Who's going to listen to a 22-year-old talk about career development and how to discover your passion when I'm less than a year removed from school? But he said, Jake, it's not about that. It's about, can your message help somebody else? And it was, yes, that was the truth. I could make a transformation in somebody else. And it was therefore my responsibility to provide that service and that product, which eventually became the book, to those people. And that's how we got me to write the book. And I'm so grateful to have learned that lesson about if you can help somebody at whatever point of your life, it's your obligation to do so. And that's in the form of sales and business. That's in the form of creating something. That's in the form of taking somebody to the surf to surf with you. That's in the form of lifting somebody up. Whatever it is, if you can do something that will positively impact somebody else's life, you have to do that. And that makes life more fun in the process.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% on how that elevates you as a human being and in life. But, another philosophy that I learned through David Meltzer, which is a complement to that lifestyle, is by helping others through us, they can also become successful financially. And although that might come at a financial gain to ourselves, it does allow us to help more people. So in that sense of the word, earning money, making money is a good thing, because if we have this mentality, we can help others. But oftentimes I find through me, they're making money as well. And we talked real briefly before the show, that I've been really successful during this COVID crisis, and it's been because I've been helping people as a coach or as a consultant. And I just want to talk about that a little bit, what you've seen by helping others and the success that they've got, as well as the success that you've received from helping others.
Yeah, well, first of all, kudos to you, man. It was awesome to hear how you've been able to do so great during this time, because right, there's a lot of people that are just struggling, or they're not optimistic about what's to come, right? And we get so focused on the present. And I'm not taking away anything from COVID, because everybody's experiencing it in a different way.
Sure.
Right? Everybody's experiencing in a different way. But it's up to us to decide how we're going to choose to view the time that we're currently going through.
Right.
And there are times where you guys can hear this right now. Like, I am passionate and energetic and hyped and so excited for everything. But there are also times that even this energy is not always there. And in those days, you have to find ways to get through the tough times to move on to the greater times. And when you talk about like turning the helping stuff into the financial gains and making other people make more money in the process, here's the beautiful thing. At the very core, whenever you help somebody, you feel good. Whenever you donate money, you feel good. That's a win just as much for you as it is for somebody else.
Yeah.
And there are studies that actually show that the more you give to others versus giving to yourself, in terms of like, if you have $20 and you give it and spend on someone else versus if you spend on yourself, your overall well-being increases when you're actually giving that money to somebody else or doing something for somebody else. And I like to call this the triple win, right? And the triple win is, and you can give this example, right, of you and a coaching client, you and someone else, right? You're getting the win because you get to help them,
sure,
right? So that's a win for you. And you're getting paid in the process. Double win for you. That person is getting a win because they're getting inspired, they're changing their lives, and they're doing incredible things. But the third part of the win, the triple win, is when that person starts to be able to impact somebody else. And a third party then therefore becomes impacted by the work we just did together.
Right.
And that's the true power of expanding a network. It's the true power of being able to provide and help others. And it's the true power of why David Meltzer talks about making a lot of money, having a lot of fun, and making a big impact, right?
Yep.
And those are the three things that truly transform life.
Well, and what's interesting about that whole philosophy, and it works, and it's a reality for many people that understand that, is, like you said, giving makes you feel better, right? And when you feel better, you've got that smile on your face like I'm seeing on the Zoom call, and you're excited, I'm excited, but then that resonates with other people that you might not be connected with yet, and they're like, what are you doing? How do I get involved? Because you seem like you're happy all the time. Then all of a sudden you get this wash of people coming your way because you've attracted, like and attract, right? And that's where people miss the mark on this whole giving thing, because, people are attracted to what we're doing and that happiness and that strength and all those things.
And people always see too, they try to put the dots that are right next to each other, right?
Yeah.
The dots of saying, okay, did you do this? This person did this and he got that in return for that. But sometimes it's not about that. Most of the times it's really not about that. If you were to see some of the webs of connections that have developed by doing a simple act of giving without the expectation of an actual return, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because relationships in business is not transactional. It's purely transformational.
Yeah.
But when you treat it as a transaction, it's limited to that one experience. When you treat it as a transformation, there's opportunity to grow from it, which is exactly like you're talking about. People start to hear about that and start to come into the circle. And then you can make more transformation and ultimately have more transactions coming in, which then bring more fulfillment, because then you can recycle and reinvest into yourself and other people as well, which keeps the circle rolling, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Talk about your business a little bit, working with players and the NBA and those things, because, we have so many people that listen to this show that are in a variety of sports, a lot of extreme sport athletes, professional drivers, skateboarders, BMX, dirt bike, all these things. I like to encourage them to think about the business of doing those sports early, because if they got talent, more than likely they can get picked up. If they have talent and they're focused on it and getting picked up, that's really when it's important to understand what that means and how you can direct yourself in that direction. And I'm sure what applies to the NBA applies across the board with all athletes.
For sure. So what we do at the Professional Basketball Combine is every year we host our event, and it's about a 2-day. We get the guys for about 2 days, a little less than 48 hours, and we put them through a series of drills and workouts. Mm-hmm. We put them through team interviews. We give the NBA teams an opportunity to actually select and choose who they want to interview. And we put them through 3-on-3 scrimmages, and we put them through combine testing, which is a variety of testing. A lot of your audience probably is